One just has to pick up a magazine or turn on a television to see that as women, we are bombarded daily with media images of female physical perfection, setting up the most unrealistic of expectations as to how we should look. No wonder female body confidence is falling, while incidents of eating disorders are on the rise. What's most alarming is the way this affects young girls. A reduced sense of self worth can create anxiety, stress, even depression, causing relationship issues while potentially impairing academic and job performance. In direct contrast, Confidence in Bloom is designed to reinforce and reassure every woman who has ever felt inadequate, unworthy, or tossed aside because of how she looks, that no matter her age, shape, or background, you matter, you are enough now. I, Tina Spolatini, a woman of substance, insist women deserve to be happy, confident, successful, and totally in love with themselves in their own bodies, just the way they are. Through an ongoing series of intriguing conversations with women from all walks of life, who are all extraordinary in their own right, we will embark upon a journey of ultimate self-acceptance and empowerment. Together, we'll share stories, laugh, learn, maybe even shed a few tears when it becomes clear just how far many women have come to realize how wonderful life is when you stand in your own power, feeling fantastic in your own skin. Today, Gwen Gardner is my guest. Gwen Gardner is an absolute force of resilience and heart. She's the chief chick founder and designer behind Simply Chicking Clothing, a brand born from a week that changed everything, a breast cancer diagnosis and the discovery she was pregnant, all in the same week. What followed was a radical lifestyle shift, a commitment to clean living, and the creation of a company that blends humor, heart, and health-conscious values into adorable organic baby clothes. We're diving into Gwen's story of healing, entrepreneurship, and what it really means to live with intention for yourself, your family, and the future. Let's get into it. All right, welcome, Gwen. How are you today?
Great. So lovely to be here, Tina.
Yes, it's so nice to have you here. I want to start at the beginning. You've had an incredibly life-changing week. Can you walk us through how your diagnosis and pregnancy intersected and what that was like for you?
Sure. So over 20 years ago now, I decided to move out from my boyfriend, but I wasn't feeling well. And so on Monday, I went to the doctor. And the next day, I found out that I was pregnant. But then the next day, I found out that I had breast cancer. So yeah, so it was quite a week.
So the same doctor, same appointment, found two different things.
So I had like a mammogram the week before with a different doctor, and I had gotten the call back to go in basically on a Wednesday. So I went to my regular doctor on Monday. Obviously, they do tests, and the next day I found out I was pregnant. But then I was already on a call back from the previous week because they didn't like how it looked. So that's when I went in,
Oh,
and they're like, "Oh,
so if it like
hello."
this 20 years ago, you were young.
So it was 20 years ago. Actually like more closer to 21 because my daughter just turned 20. That's how I know how long I've been in business. Um, so yeah, so that was quite a while ago. And that's when I started looking at how I was living, what I was eating, what I was washing my clothes with. Because when you get a diagnosis like that, you're like, oh, what can I do? You know, I
Well,
immediately went into
yeah, and the thing is when we like what affects our body is absolutely everything, right? Like all the five major senses, right? What we're listening to, what we're eating, what we're touching, what we're seeing, all of it. Like it's all so I could see. I mean, I don't, like when you said that you had to change your laundry soap, I was like, well, it's only laundry soap. But the reality is, right? Everything that touches our body in any way can create disease if we're not, you know, I don't know what the word is. If we're not like, if we're not filtering it in some way, right? And I'm sure you learned that.
Yeah, it everything, really impacts your health, like everything that's coming into your environment, basically. And so that's when I started kind of looking at organic in all ways possible. And back then it was a little more difficult. You had kind of the organic food movement, and so that was easier. But in every other area, it really was, you kind of had to dig. And so I was involved with another women's group, and she had breast cancer, and she had developed lotions and things that you can put on your skin. So she said, she's like, well, you realize stuff that gets on your body can be absorbed in like under 20 seconds. And I'm like, oh. So I started thinking about, what was I putting on my skin? What was I washing my clothes with? What was I washing my dishes with? And but I have a sense of humor. And while I'm growing this child and dealing with the cancer, I thought, well, I should start a business, because I'm going to have so much time like nursing this child, because I really did think positively. When I got that diagnosis, I said, there is no way that I'm going to die while I'm creating life. It's just not going to happen.
Good for
So
you.
I just put on a super positive and mindset, and move forward in that way. So I started then, because I was a teacher, I started researching cotton and textiles, and what I could print my funny little sayings on. And that's when I found out the dirty secret of regular conventional cotton is one of the most polluting crops in the world. And I thought, because of the insecticides and pesticides that are sprayed on the regular cotton crop to get rid of all those insects and boll weevils and all of that, obviously gets into our water. And I was like, oh, so we're actually drinking this stuff. And people who live close to those farms or who farm them definitely have higher cancer rates, and they have skin issues. So I sought out organic cotton. And back then, it was incredibly difficult to find. Of course, I found a California company, because I just feel like they're on the forefront of a lot. It's a big state, and they've been organic for a long time. So I found a California company and started using their blanks to print with my eco-friendly ink, basically. And and then I no longer use that company, but I use a company out of New York, and then I print here in Rhode Island. So I feel it's a super clean product. I don't compromise. My product is more expensive, but it lasts. Like, I have people, because I've been around for a long time, I love the story of a dad who walked up with his 13-year-old. He pointed at a particular design and said, oh my gosh, he's like, you realize all of our children have worn that, and we're keeping it for our grandchildren
Oh my goodness.
because they last, they don't fall apart. So they're actually, initially they're more expensive, but they're more economical in the long run,
In the long run.
because they're
Yeah.
not going to really end up in a landfill.
Right, right, exactly. And yeah, I love that, because I mean, well, I had twins, boy girl twins. And I wasn't sure if I was going to have more. I did save a lot of my clothes, right? So I did have another one and a boy, so I saved all the boy clothes and I got rid of all the girl clothes after. But I saved them. They're 5 years apart. I saved all those clothes for 5 years. It was crazy, but I can relate with that. Like, who doesn't want to buy one shirt and let it pass down through 3 or 5 kids, right? And I mean, even generations. I mean, who doesn't want that? I love
Yeah,
that.
and most of my designs are gender neutral. So it doesn't matter. Like a boy can wear them, a girl can wear them, a human can
Oh,
wear them.
yeah, that's even better. That's even better.
Yeah.
Now, I know I've seen a few of your shirts, like on Instagram. I follow you, and I see like I've seen a few of your designs. Is there a chick, like a little baby chick, on all of your outfits?
So one of my most popular designs is actually a little chick coming out of an egg. And it's just hatched. So that's a really popular one for boys or girls. I have a lobster and it says local catch. It's in red. Of course, it could be boy, girl. I have a little miniature golfer symbol, of course, boy, girl. I have a couple of poems, which are very popular. And then my brand is on the inside of the tag,
Of course.
and that's my little chick. But there are a variety of different designs on the front. But yes, I do have a little chick coming out of an egg, and
I
that's a very
love
popular,
that.
yeah,
I
gender
love
neutral.
that. That is super cute. Super cute.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, I want to talk a little bit more about, like the organic side of it and the healthy side of it. When now we're talking kind of a little bit of, everything that touches our body. What were some of the biggest surprises? I mean, you mentioned about how, cotton is one of the highest, I'm going to use the word poisoned because I don't remember your exact term. What other surprises did you come across when you were doing all your research, changes that you had to make in your everyday life?
Yeah. So, I mean, if you just start thinking about what gets into our water, because it's groundwater, and we're eventually, drinking that. That's why so many people filter their water. Um, so what was I washing my skin with? First of all, that's going to go onto my skin. So I was looking for, natural soaps, because that, of course, is going to go onto my body. Of course, a little bit will be absorbed. It's going to run into the water and then out into the world. And so eventually, we're drinking it essentially. Um, and then what am I washing my clothes with? Because the clothes are rinsed, and that goes into the water and, out into the world, but also it's on the clothes. So I'm then putting those clothes on my body, and they're sitting there like all day, and you can be sweating. And so where where is that going? So it was just thinking about all of the products that I am ingesting or going onto my skin or my child's skin. Obviously, I think a lot of moms and dads think about the world differently when they have a child. They're like, oh my gosh, all of a sudden, like, oh, I probably need to pay attention to XYZ.
Right. And and also too, we start to like realize how the little things that we do in our life affect the little people. Right. Like I can agree with you. I remember my mom saying, when you have a child, you never see the world the same. And I thought, what is she talking about? Like the world doesn't change, right? But it's not that the world changes, it's the way you see it changes, right? You start looking at, who's looking out for the benefit of my baby, right? Who's looking out for, what I'm feeding my baby? Because really, nobody cares except for when that comes to their own world, right? And so I realized that, yeah, you see the world differently. You start to notice, you know, I don't want to say the good and the bad, but you start to pick at little things in other people because they're not aware of what you are aware of. So I can
Right.
relate with that again. Yeah, I love that. So when you had to do all, like when you were going through all of this, I mean, you're dealing with cancer, and I mean, we all know that nobody likes to talk about that word. um you had to make a many mindset shifts, right? Like your mind you had to make some really big changes in your internal world in order for you to change your external world. What was that like for you?
So, I started thinking about, how to make myself better and how to continue being healthy because obviously the cancer was excised. And at that time, my doctor was kind of on the forefront and he took an approach of we're going to monitor this. So I went in for MRIs like very frequently, very frequently. But I also read the book Crazy Sexy Cancer by Chris Carr, as I recall. And she was actually stage 4. She's still around and has become a huge influencer in this arena. So I started I, I started making my own green juice. I would go to the grocery store and get the kale and the cucumbers and all of the fruit. And I had a green juice like 3 times a day. And I shifted more of my eating to more veggies and fruits. And my body just kind of craved that more and moved away from other protein sources, moved into more of a vegetarian arena and really kicked up the green juice because there's so many good things in vegetables and fruits. So I really focused on doing that on a daily basis. And that in itself, if you've ever been a home juicer, is incredibly intensive. You go to the grocery store, pick the best fruits and vegetables, sit there, like wash them all, juice them all, bottle them, and then you've got to turn around and do it in a couple more days. So it does take a lot of time, but I it didn't come back. And you like to think that you had sort of a, very good doctor and, I was monitored and the cancer was excised, but, you still want to feel like you have agency.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, when you take on your health on your own, right, without relying on, do this for me, do that for me. When you do it on your own, like there's a lot to be said about that, right? I know I'm not a juicer. I actually would rather eat my calories than drink my calories, but when it comes to fruits and vegetables, that's not on the top of my list. So I can see why people juice, right? Because you can get a lot more veggies and fruit in a glass than you can, by cooking them and sitting and eating them. So yeah, I could see that. I don't think I don't see myself as a juicer ever, right? But at the same time, like I see the benefits of it. Um, Now, many women listening today, Gwen, they may be in like a season of transition or reinvention. Can you help maybe mention to us, what helped you stay grounded and focused during your personal transformation? Because this was huge, right? I mean, you went from being a teacher to now being, a pregnant cancer patient, changing into a new career.
Yeah. So, everybody says, oh, family and friends, but that is extremely true. I also, because I was going to be a single mom, I really kind of focused on finding a tribe. And I, when I started doing, little markets with my shirts, I always like say hello to the booth next to me, to the booth on all sides, and see if we're going to help each other that day. Like I need to go to the bathroom, when you watch my booth. But it's about connecting with, finding ways to connect with other people. So I join groups. I love being around other people, even though I'm actually a very shy person. I was so shy growing up that some teachers were concerned until one teacher told my parents, Gwen is just quiet. And from a very early age. I don't know, for some reason that kind of gave me a little bit of confidence, I think. And I was like, oh, I'm just quiet, but I'm not a lost cause. So I literally started like joining groups, and I carry that on into my uh, adult world. I'm probably part of a well over 10 networking groups.
Wow. Yeah,
and
that's
and that
awesome.
and that's how I did stay grounded, and it's how I continue to stay grounded, because though we like to think that we can sit behind a computer and kind of get all the answers through AI or Google, there's nothing like sitting down with a cup of coffee with a group of friends, or just one friend, to say, hey, I'm having this issue, what do you think? Or not even asking questions, just hanging out, having coffee, tea, having a glass of
Yeah,
wine.
I agree. It fills my heart when I sit with my girlfriends, right? Even if we're not really talking about anything specific, right? Just you're just hanging out, right? It just makes you feel more together, I guess, and whole, right? Yeah, I love that. I love that. I'm a big people person. I love to sit and visit. And I love how you said, you were a shy kid, but as soon as your teacher said that Gwen is just quiet, that gave you more confidence. And it goes to it goes to show that when we label ourselves, right, we once we're labeled, we believe that that's what we are and that's what we go with, right? I'm shy, but really the reality is, what is shy? I just don't feel like talking, right? Now I know there are people that are shy, that they like, remember my daughter, it was terrible. She would hide behind me. She would hide her face. She didn't want anyone to notice her, right? And I used to think, what, how is she like this? I am so not like that, right? And I didn't even know how to handle it. But now, I mean, she's quiet and she is afraid of crowds, but she's not shy anymore, right? And it's because I never allowed that shy label to really sink in, right? I'm like, okay, you can be quiet, you can be afraid of crowds. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but that doesn't make you shy, right? And so I think that helped her, and as with you, that just helped her realize that there's so many different qualities that we all carry, that we can, sometimes it's a little bit more comfortable in this quality and sometimes it's more comfortable in that quality. So I really like that.
Yeah, I think you're right. People like, um, hide sometimes hide behind labels, but then when they are labeled, they're like, oh, this is my lot. But it's not,
No, and it
no,
doesn't have to be, right? Like,
no.
we can be who we want to be today.
Yeah.
And story.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're not a tree. We don't
right.
have roots
That's
way,
right.
way, way down to the core. We we can pick up and change in the next moment.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So now, Gwen, let's talk about cotton. So most of us don't really think twice about fabric. What did you learn that shocked you? I mean, other than the growing of it, and the regular cotton was the most, polluted. Um, excuse me. What did you learn that shocked you, and how did it influence your brand's mission?
So when I was doing my research, I found out that more than 7 of the most carcinogenic chemicals known to humankind were sprayed on the regular conventional cotton crop. And some of those agents were created during as nerve agents for the world wars. So I was like, oh my gosh, we've manufactured this and now we think it's because it does kill.
Wow.
So let's spray it on these crops to kill the boll weevils and the gnat, because regular cotton, it's not easy to grow, because of the pests. So I understand, I think a lot of people have good intentions when they start, like, oh my gosh, this is really working. But when you really dig into it, you're like, oh my goodness. Like, so then I thought, well, this is getting into our water. Like we all know that cancer has uh, grown exponentially since then. Yeah.
Right. Wow. Wow.
Yeah. So that was really the most surprising thing. So I thought, okay, I am going to seek out an organic option. And in the beginning, it was an education process when I went to large shows, small shows, because my label says organic cotton, GOT certified, meaning Global Organic Trade Certified cotton. Um, and because I didn't want to contribute. I wanted to do a fun product, but I didn't want to contribute to the messiness.
Right. Right. Well, thank you for that. Right. Because, clearly, there's a lot to be done that you've done already, right? There's a lot more that needs to be done because we're hearing more and more that it's crazy. Like I saw a program not too long ago about the clothes that are being donated to charity and to, across the world, and the piles of garbage clothes left on like the seashores is, I was like, what is all that? Like, how are we not finding use for the clothes that we have? Right? Like it just seems ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was, that was really eye-opening. And so I just thought, okay, my mission is going to kind of spread the organic message. And the interesting thing is, I feel like I kind of was a little bit of a disruptor because, a lot of things start small, but look at us now. Like major companies have an organic option.
Right.
In fact, I had a super quick sort of funny story. I was a really long time ago at a little local market, and there was a big clothing company in that area. And I'm not going to say which company it was, but he came up and he was so interested in organic cotton. Like, what was this? What was going on? Yada, yada. 2 years later, they had an organic section of their clothing.
Ah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that's how we change the world, right? That's how we change the world, one person at a time. And we start with ourselves and then we spread our love, right? I love that. That's great. Now,
Yeah.
you went from cancer patient to new mom to entrepreneur. What were the biggest hurdles mentally, emotionally, and practically when starting your business?
So mentally, when you first have a child, like pre-child, you think you're going to have time.
Yep. I always laugh when I hear these new moms.
Post, you run into, no, you really don't have that time. And sleep. I remember calling my brother, and this was very, very early on. This was within the first year. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired. And I was like, when does this stop? He laughed and he was like, I think 18.
I don't
I
even
think
think
when they're
about
18.
it. Yeah, life is never the same, right? Like life is never the same.
No. So, mentally it was getting used to, okay, where am I literally going to time block? Where can I work on my business? And then who is going to help me? So you start looking around because you've started developing this little tribe. And what two friends and I did was and also like it's cash flow. I was a single mom and, still trying to make things work. Um, I didn't have, money to put my kid in like daycare. And first of all, before the age of 3, there aren't a lot of options anyway. And so I got together with a couple of my friends. And so Monday, one friend took the kids until 1 o'clock. So all morning until 1 o'clock. Next day, someone else did that. And then the next day was my turn. So I had a decent amount of time to work on my business, to go to meetings, whatever I needed to do, and sleep sometimes. Um, so that helped. And then and then it was just starting locally. Like I think sometimes people think you have to like, quit your day job and like start your business and go full force. And I think you kind of have to a little bit, and I did have another part-time job as well. You have to do that while you kind of grow your business. Another time suck, which people don't realize. And another friend said to me a couple years ago, she's like, how do you get so much done, Gwen? I was like, I really don't watch TV. And they're like, oh, huh. And so like if you really sit down and now I think it's more your cell phone, but if you really sit down and like track like how much time is taken from whatever the TV or the fact that you're on your phone scrolling, that's a big time suck. And what could you be doing? Printing, going to a meeting, connecting, working on designs, whatever. So it's really kind of taking a look around and taking stock in what you do have, and then figuring out how you're going to jump to the next level with the resources that you do have. And a lot of people have a lot of resources they don't even realize they have. Like your friends, if they can watch your kid, that's a resource. And obviously you're going to do the same.
Right. Yeah. And sometimes it's even like your friends are running out getting groceries. Like you could very easily say, hey, do you mind picking up milk, eggs, and, a loaf of bread for me, or whatever that might be. So yeah. I mean, that's what we have friends for, right? You give and take, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not always just about, let me listen to you. Sometimes it's, I need you to do me a favor. So that's good. It's great that you found yourself that group of friends that you could rely on like that. I remember when my kids were little, I mean, there were days, I mean, I had twins. There were days where I'm like, I never missed a shower though. I remember mom saying to me, if you have a shower in a day, you're having a good day. I didn't miss a shower. So I mean, it was pretty good. They were really good babies too. Really, I can't complain. They were awesome babies, but I remember that, oh my God, I have to get supper on the table and I got 2 crying babies here, right? Like I remember those days. And when you're all alone, you don't have that option, right? You can't just say, here, take my kid, right? So yeah, it's great that you found that group.
Yeah, and it's also like doing things like we used to think that, oh, the child like almost couldn't be seen. Like you had to like whatever, shut them away or find someone to take care of them. I would take my child to my local farmers markets. I had like some sort of contraption. I would go in the back. I would nurse her because I did nurse her for a very long time. I would nurse her, put her down in the little crib that I had, then go deal with the client.
Well, that's how
So
else do you do it, right? I mean, you got
I
to do
know,
what you got to do.
I know. I took the kid to work, but it was a little unconventional because a lot of my work was actually at local farmers markets, artisans markets. But I did.
But she was also a little bit of an advertisement for you, I'm sure. I'm sure she was wearing your product.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
So
Oh,
there
yeah.
you go. I mean,
Yeah.
that's part of the job,
Yeah. Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
She just wasn't making any money.
Yeah. And
What
my
advice?
friend, a couple of weekends ago, she has a new baby. He's under a year, and she is doing the same thing I do. And she brought her child, but she also brought like a nanny. And halfway through the day, she's like, because it's expensive if you're doing that too. And she's
Yeah,
like, Gwen, how did you do this? Like, is it okay if I bring him and it's just me and I'm working? And I said, I did it. Just set up the little carriage and you're good.
exactly. I know if your kid is colicky and you can't, provide to your clients, then that's different. But if he's just
Right.
a normal baby, why not? Right.
Yeah.
And quite
Right.
honestly, like when I'm shopping and I see little babies, of course I'm old now, my kids are big, right? I love seeing little babies, right? It's like, oh, look how sweet. That's a sale right there.
I know.
Yeah. What advice would you give women who are being called to do something bold or meaningful, but are also feeling scared and uncertain?
First of all, don't quit your day job. um, or your night job, whatever it is. I still, it's going to be hard. You know what? It's not easy, but you have to pull up your big girl panties, and you're going to have to work, and you're going to be tired, but you're going to find a way. You just have to be organized. You have to find your tribe. You have to ask for help, and you're going to just have to find the time. I'm a big proponent of, the 5 o'clock club, but I'm more of a 6 o'clock club. Um, from 6 to 9, I can get mountains of stuff done because no one expects anything of you before 9 o'clock. And you do the math, that's 21 hours during the week before really anyone's really expecting anything of you. Your kids probably sleeping. And obviously, if you're like more of a night owl, then from 9 to midnight, because no one's expecting anything from you after that time of night. And you multiply that out, and as an entrepreneur, weekends count. So that's 21 hours that you can get a lot done, 6 to 9 in the morning or 9 to 12 at midnight. That is one of my biggest advice pieces. Turn off your phone, just get done what you need to get done. Make lists. I make a list the night before. I have a little calendar, and on Sunday night, I basically write out my week of my exact appointments. So I am reminded. And then I make a list the night before of what I really need to get done, like 3 top things. And you can probably get those done between 6 and 9 in the morning. And then the rest of the day, you have your meetings or you're doing what I'm doing. But yeah, I make lists.
I love that. I absolutely love that. First of all, being organized is the number one thing, right? You can get so much more done when you have your days planned out, right? And then, like you said, nobody's going to expect anything from you between 6 and 9. Although after this podcast, they might be starting to call you or at 8. But let's give Gwen her time, right? From 6 to 9, or like I'm not a night timer. I'd rather get up early, although I struggle getting up early lately. That 9 to 12 time, that's my time at night. Like, I want to be in bed by 10. So, I'm not working till midnight. That's not going to happen. But I love that. I love how you plan that all out, and like your tribe is there to help you, right? You can rely on that tribe, right? Whether it's, just answer the phone for me even, right? Like if my phone rings, do you mind just answering it? Right. Oh, and that's another thing that I was going to mention. You had said that, you didn't watch TV, right? And, now it's our phones that are keeping us, distracted and occupied. My phone tells me, I think it's every Sunday morning, how much screen time I had over the week. And I am every single Monday, like totally appalled at that number, because I'm like consciously trying to be on my phone less, but that number doesn't change. I'm like, what am I doing wrong? Right. I mean, I do play games on my phone, so I know that that's a lot of it, but I really aim to like spend, what's the word I'm looking for? Like specific time on my phone, right? This is for this job, so I need to be on my phone. Otherwise, I don't want to be on my phone all the time. It's not good for my eyes, right? It's not good for my distraction, right? And so I liked how you said that, right? Like, I don't watch TV. So it's almost one of those, you have to pick your battle, right? You have to pick which one you're going to give into. And TV obviously is one of those things where you're like, no, I'm not going there, right? You might not be in touch with the rest of the world. I mean, I don't know how you find out what's going on in the world. I personally don't listen to the news anymore. I watch crap on TV. I waste my time doing that. And hockey. I love hockey, so I do watch hockey.
I love hockey too. My thing is baseball, but I do a lot of driving, so I listen to podcasts.
So that's how you are, like, you learn, because there's always learning to do. But podcasts are great. I mean, look at us. I mean, we're having this conversation, right? But there's also podcasts that are, for learning purposes, right? Like, let's learn how to do this, right? And I mean, Mel Robbins is amazing. She has amazing guests on her podcast. There's so much to learn from people like that, and I love this.
Yeah. So and you can go down a hole with the podcast, but there's a few that I really try to pay attention to. I always listen to Rich Habits podcast. So once you get that money from your job or your entrepreneurial thing, like, what do you do with it? And so I just love listening to them. They have some really savvy advice. I love Trevor Noah. What now? Because he really kind of synthesizes something in the zeitgeist. So once a week, so he can really distill what's going on, and he just has really intelligent conversations with, Scott Galloway, or like just really, really interesting people. Yeah. So I catch up by listening to podcasts. Yeah. Because I drive a lot, because I have to go to Boston.
Yeah, when you spend a lot of time in the car, you got to fill your time, and you might as well do it with learning, right? I mean, I'm sure you have your playlist, right? I have a thing when I'm like, if I'm working, but I have to be on the road, I listen to learning on the way to wherever I'm going. And then when my day is done and I'm now going home because my day is done, that's when I put my music in, right? Because then I'm like, now I can unwind, right? But going there, I need to be filled with, as much information as I can, right? And so I call it my learning time. I tried to teach that to my kids, but it didn't work. I have one more question. What does confidence in bloom mean to you personally? And how has confidence played a role in your journey as a mother, a survivor, and a business owner?
So I think confidence actually plays parallel to vulnerability, in that knowing that really every other human is having similar struggles. And just knowing that kind of humans around the world, humans in my community, are having these similar struggles gives me the confidence, like, oh my gosh, I am this old. That person is that old, that old. They've had the confidence to get to that point in their journey, in their life, and to just keep going. Confidence is continuing to just keep going, because it is a roller coaster, but just know that it is a roller coaster, and take stock, and in the good times, because rain is going to fall, but just know that you are going to get through it. We all get through it.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know if you remember, but I remember, like, on Zoom, especially during COVID, the pandemic, when we were not to be out in public and be visiting with our people. And, we would get on a Zoom call and we would complain about how I really wish we could go out. I'd rather be sitting in a restaurant, or sitting in a cafe chatting with you. But at the end of that conversation, we all would always say, this too shall end. Right? We all know that, it's going to come to an end at some point, some way, right? And we have to look forward to what's on the other side of that.
Yeah, and you have agency. You do have agency in what you choose to do from 1 minute to the next. And it's okay. It's okay if you're having a bad day. It's okay. You don't have to be happy all the time. It's okay to have a bad day, but think about, okay, what could I do to move this in a different direction? And maybe this bad day or whatever these thoughts are lead me to another solution, another pathway, something else to do.
Yeah,
Uh, it informs us.
I love that. I love that. Now, if you could send one message to every woman listening today, what would it be?
Just keep going and know that a lot of people have your back, even though you don't realize that. You can ask for help. To You can ask help from a stranger. At the market, could you hold my bag while I pick up my child? You know, um, your friend, hey, could you like grab some extra cereal, whatever.
Yeah,
Just ask for help, because people really want to help. They really do.
they really do. It's so true, right? I love that. Thank you so much for that. I want to say thank you for joining me today. I'm so proud that you have come. I feel proud of you for coming through life the way you have. And I don't know, I feel like you have, yeah, it's been a struggle. You're a single mom, and you struggled with your health and you made it work. And I love that. I love that. It goes to show that where there's a will, there's a way.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And your daughter must be so proud. And you said she's 20, so she might not see it that way just yet.
She is, I have to say, she is pretty amazing. And the apple does not fall far from the tree. She's going to be studying abroad in the fall, but she knows she wants to make more money. So literally, she is juggling 5 jobs
Wow.
right now.
Wow. Good for her. Good for her. Although she has to leave those jobs out for those other people that don't have work.
She's nannying, she's coaching tennis, she's working for me, she's doing inventory sheets and Pinterest for another company, she's
Good for her.
social media for another one, Excel spreadsheets for another. So yeah, she's
Good
pulling
for her.
together a bunch of
Well,
different
she's
stuff.
young, right? And now's the time to work, because once she, starts a family, time is limited, as you know, right?
Yes.
Awesome. I love this. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
Confidence in Bloom is a celebration of self-love, a confirmation that even though you may not look like a screen star or a supermodel, they don't even look like that. You are an amazing, desirable, brilliant, gorgeous, talented woman. We offer unconditional love to our partners, our children, our extended family, even our pets. It's high time we got out of our own way and learned to unconditionally love ourselves. In Full Bloom Styling and Coaching offers an online program combined with one-on-one coaching in confidence building, personal branding, and creating your signature fashion look. Chic definitely does come in every shape, so if you want something to believe in, start with yourself. If you'd like to be a guest here on Confidence in Bloom, contact me through Instagram at infobloomstyling, by email tina@infobloomstyling.com, or through the Divas That Care website.